less competition throughout this weekend and into next week.
Yes, we spoke with Luis Espeña briefly before the game. He said this is the first time in the United States for most of these players from Chivas, and a good test for them, and for Orlando City, a relatively new academy. For many of these guys, their first time in the GA Cup, so a good test against a prominent, big-time Mexican foe.
Here comes a cross in from the right, and it's a great take and a bicycle kick attempt. Looked like Pedro Casillas-Bellas was up there trying to turn on that one. Good cross and service in from the left-hand side. Chivas starting on the front foot. Orlando, meanwhile, William Diaz, the keeper, playing it wide left. There's a challenge in midfield and a foul given. And actually the foul given for the first challenge back against Orlando, so it'll be a Chivas foul here. Chivas free kick, I should say. Just going to the early stages of this match. Red and white shirts pile forward, and it's a quickly taken one over to Casillas-Bellas, trying to take on a double team, and he's snuffed away. A little miscommunication in the back there, though, and a giveaway by Orlando City. Comes Ortega Flores to throw it in. Now he's going to service a cross in with his left foot. Defended away initially, and then still loose in the box. Gilberto Garcia Roa is there, ready to pounce on the loose ball, if not for the last-minute intervention. So a corner kick here for Chivas, and they certainly have been the brighter start of these two teams.
Absolutely. The wind is blowing towards the Chivas goal, and it's significant here in the early afternoon hours here in Frisco. So it should be an advantage for Chivas in the first half.
Casillas to take this one in towards the front post, defended away by Alan Seals. It is a beautiful day here, about 75 degrees and sunny, but you're right, Matt, just a howling wind going from left to right. Chivas will have the wind at their back in this first half. You can see the effects already. Goalkeeper Jesus Emmanuel Gudinho Vega, his goal kick just sailing out of bounds.
While it might be windy, the fields are impeccable. We walked them this morning, and really well done. This beautiful complex here in Frisco, Texas. We watched the Houston Dynamo DC United game at 9 a.m. this morning. The wind affected that a bit, but the field will not be a problem at all.
It's a poor giveaway from keeper Diaz, but his back line helped him bail out of that situation. Meanwhile, Jaime Lopez trying to get forward along this left-hand side. Unable to beat his man. Chivas trying to play with it on the deck, but a little scoop pass goes missing, and here comes Roberto Yedrach. Nicely inside. Passed along the edge of the 18, and Licor was trying to unleash a shot with his left foot, blocked away by the Chivas defense. Mason Lamb now trying to deal with an awkward bouncing ball. He's found his left back, Jelani Forbes. Defended away nicely in the end by Ortega.
Yeah, Carter, a lot of youth in this Orlando City team. They are facing some injuries, but several 2002s on this roster.
Yeah, we talked to Academy coach Max Rogers, who's here coaching the team, and he said that was a big focus for Orlando coming in, trying to get some of these young players some playing time for the future.
Yeah, 4 2002s on this U16 team. The cutoff date, of course, January 1st, 2000. So you have to be born on January 1st, 2000 or later. So several of these kids 2 to 3 years younger than some of the other kids in the tournament.
There's a ball over the top. Good trouble with the wind. Nicely handled in the back by Schultz. Anthony Brown now playing it back for Lamb. It's bouncing around in midfield here. The wind really causing havoc.
Schultz is a fixture for Orlando. 26 games in the Development Academy season. Tied for the most on the team. Leads the Orlando City U16s with 24 starts.
See his presence already so far in this first half. Here's a big player for them as well, A.J. Seals. Max Rogers singled him out as really the player to dictate the tempo for this Orlando City side. Cross into the area. Now Chivas has some defending to do. Nicely cleared away. Tough one for Lopez to handle, but it's a nice header. Trying to find Alejandro Jara Garcia over on that left-hand side, but just couldn't able to deliver the pass. Here's a 1-2 intercepted nicely by Kyle Ferguson. Lopez now, 1-2 on this near side with Forbes. Now Pereira getting his first opportunity to try and test the keeper from the near post angle. Tight angle, easy save in the end. A little dribbler for Gudinho to scoop up. Chivas now playing it along the back. Jara. Back with Marco Perez Sanchez. He'll go all the way back to the goalkeeper. Nicely intercepted there. Mason Lamb read the play, stepped in, and unfortunately there'll be an injury here as it appears Gilberto Garcia Roa was the man down. Chance for the training staff to come up. Chance to take a breath too, as it's been a pretty breakneck speed here to open this match.
Yeah, we talked earlier about Chivas is back for the first time since 2004, and you know, a good article from Ben Bayer at the MLS website talking with Alfonso Mondelo, who basically came up with this tournament, which is now in its 10th edition. But Mondelo talked about how the 2014 edition was really the first big change in this competition with 3 international teams. In addition to Chivas was Stoke, which won the tournament, in Flamengo. And now we're up to 13 teams, but it really gave a chance for the MLS teams to test themselves against some of the best teams around the world. And that was the whole point of the GA Cup 10 years ago, was to see how the academies were doing, to see how they stacked up. But it was hard to do that when you're facing only American and North American competition. Now with teams from Europe and South America, you can really see how the 15, 16, and 17-year-olds in the North American academies can compete.
Play restarts. Looks like Roa, it will be fine. Excuse me, Garcia Roa. Offside against Orlando. And Matt, you talked about Modelo starting this competition 10 years ago, and he said that it was more like a demolition derby when they first started, and you can perhaps see the improvement in the quality of play in this competition 10 years later.
Yeah, physicality, athleticism was more of an emphasis, but now with more technical teams coming in with more styles of play, and it's a breeding ground for coaches. The American and North American coaches in this competition can test themselves against their South American, European counterparts, and there's coaching symposiums. The players and coaches will be in class sessions on the 3 off days of the competition, so they'll learn, and the coaches can share things at the hotel bar at night and over coffee.
There's a big switch attempt from midfield and nicely cut out by Forbes. You're right, Matt. There's a lot going on here in Dallas, Texas. If you can come down, I'll tell you what, there's games just about every single day. Well, games all day anyways here today, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. Then they'll go into the weekend with the semifinals and the final. There's 2 divisions here as well. This is the Premier Division. Group B action.
Yeah, I've always said,
excuse me, Group C, I should say, sorry.
Tucson in preseason and the Generation Adidas Cup are 2 great opportunities to watch a lot of games at once. With Tucson, you might have 2 or 3 games going on within a 3-hour span in February before the MLS season kicks off. This, you know, as we look across the field right now, there's 2 or 3, but you could watch over 10 games in a day here in Frisco. And then, of course, Dallas plays Minnesota tomorrow night, so you get an MLS game. So something to look at for MLS fans to put on their calendar, the Generation Adidas Cup, right around early April each year.
Not short of talent either. Players like Bill Hamid, Andy Nahar, Kellen Acosta here in Dallas, all played in this GA Cup. Here's a trip on the ball. Again, Forbes there to recover. Lopez steaming into that challenge. Chivas still with possession. It's right back Ortega Flores. Decent cross into the middle. There's Schultz again, towering header. And Orlando can try and counter. Mario Licor. A one-touch pass there from Udrach did not come off as he intended. Nice move in midfield, and Chivas now going the other way. Garcia Roa, nice turn, and he'll find his right back.
The other point made by Mondello in the article with Ben Baer was another change to this competition and the DA as a whole. Continue that thought after this.
Nice little slip pass in behind. First time strike blocked away. Good sliding challenge to cover. Looked like AJ Seals from his holding midfield position. Blocked that shot away, but it'll be a throw in deep near the corner flag. Chivas Guadalajara. Nicely worked there in behind through midfield. Ortega Flores throws it in, gets it back. Looking for the 1-2. Congestion here on the edge of the Orlando defensive area. Now a misplayed clearance as Jaime Lopez tried to release Pereira down this left-hand side.
One of those changes in 2013, MLS's partnership with the French Football Federation. And that in addition to the hiring of Fred Lipka as Technical Director of Youth Development and Players, really helped change the feel of the Development Academy, with over 40 coaches participating in 2 different cycles. And you know, we talked with Mondello before the game, and you ask him about specific teams, and he talks about their style of play and how they've developed over the years and the teams he enjoys watching. So it's been, I'm sure, a fun process for him over 10 years to see where it started and where it is now with 13 international teams. Of course, Real Madrid against FC Dallas on Tuesday, so one of the most highly regarded American academies against one of the biggest in the world in Real Madrid.
One of the featured matches that we'll be bringing to you live here from Dallas on MLSsoccer.com. That'll come Tuesday. Of course, tonight it's another big fixture. Atlanta United playing River Plate. We'll be bringing you that action here at 6:15 Central. For the meantime, it's Chivas. It's a nice little breakaway here. Hara getting into the area. He's got a man wide open in the middle. If he can find him, he does. And it's turned home. Gilberto Garcia Roa. Excuse me, that's Daniel Lopez Pinedo, the number 9 up top for this Chivas squad. Charging into the area. He finishes off the play, and Chivas go up 1-0.
Yeah, great break for Chivas. You see his size. Excellent physical presence here in this youth tournament. And a tough lesson for D'Anthony Brown, a 15-year-old, the right back who's been one of the regulars for Orlando City's under-16s this year, but got beat on the right side, and then a simple cross and a good finish.
Yeah, that was good work down the left-hand flank for Chivas by Alejandro Jara Garcia. Really created that goal, and after a bit of a back-and-forth start, wind causing some problems, Chivas able to grab the first goal of the game. Of course, Matt, if those watching aren't familiar, you can see these 3-digit numbers for Chivas. That's part of their club academy policy. You don't get a regular number until you make it up into that first team, as we see a flag up for offside here. Of course, Chivas with their much talked about roster policy. Certainly they'll need their academy to provide most of their players.
And they've produced some good ones over the years. Of course, Chicharito out of the Chivas Academy. Eric Cubo Torres out of the academy, who has found success with the Houston Dynamo this year. 6 goals in his first 4 games. many others. And of course, Chivas, the first team, having a very good season in Liga MX this year and looking for a possible double as they're having success in the Liga MX Cup as well.
This ball played along the back by Ryan Schultz. He's found Forbes, his left back. Back now with Mason Lamb. Just dwelled on the ball a little too much. Good press there from Daniel Lopez. In the end, Forbes able to take it away. Chivas regain control. Good little bit of play there from Orlando to play it from the back. Lopez inside now. Yidrach. He's found Mario Licor over the top, looking for the return pass to Beto Yidrach. Those are two of the players that Max Rogers highlighted for us when we talked to him coming in this game. Mario Licor and Beto Yidrach, they'll be two of their main creators on offense for Orlando City.
Yeah, 18 goals between them.
Meanwhile, Chivas feeling that intensity press up, wind at their backs, wind in their sails, and a lot of wind under that one as well as it goes over the frame of goal.
Carter, Orlando's also suffering some absentees due to injury. Jose Aldalco, a forward, had 6 goals in 14 games. He actually tore his ACL in qualifying against Atlanta United very early in that game. That was a 2-1 loss from Orlando against one of their southern rivals.
Big-time player for Orlando in that qualifying process.
And Jordan Bender, a midfielder with 3 goals. He's away with the U.S. U17 national team as they get ready for the U17 World Cup.
It's a good run from Seals. Finds Pereira in the area. Alejandro Pereira, nice little footwork. He's dropped it back with Lopez. Space for a cross. It's a low one in towards the near post. Cleared away easily by Chivas.
And then one other player missing for Orlando, Paulo Alcocer, a midfielder with 2 goals in 15 games. He is out hurt. So 3 of their big players not here, but of course, still 2 prominent goal scorers in Licor and Yidrach.
There's a ball over the top to Anthony Brown trying to get forward, and it's a foul called against Brown. Chivas will head the other way. About 20 minutes into this first half, still 1-0 to Chivas. Goal scored by Daniel Lopez Pinedo after some bright work down the left-hand side from Alejandro Jara. And that is a natural transition, Matt, to talk about perhaps some of the rules of the game. 35-minute halves in this one.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a congested game list with teams playing every other day and then up to 2 playoff games, so it makes sense not to burn everyone out over the course of 7 days.
Good work along the back line from Ryan Schultz yet again. Meanwhile, Licor dribbling into midfield, and he has that one stolen away. Man on are the cries as A.J. Seals had come back from an offside position to lurk around the ball there.
John Forbes just had that sliding tackle. He's one of the youngsters. He's 15 years old, was born in February of 2002, so he just turned 15. 14 games with the U14s for Orlando and 6 games with the U16. So a young player starting here in the GA Cup opener for Orlando.
Flicked on for Schultz. He'll drive forward and nice little slip pass for Licor. Right now with Brown. He's found a nice little return pass to Mario Licor. Is defended out of play. Be a throw in deep in the Chivas half for Orlando City. Certainly, it's a weird little stat that there's no 90s players in this competition for the first time. Hold up play, nicely done from Pereira.
Yeah, the cutoff date, January 1 of 2000. So some players just made it. Kyle Ferguson, a regular for Orlando. He was born January 3rd 2000. So he made it by 3 days.
Just snuck in under the deadline there, and he's getting a start as well in midfield for Orlando. Chivas trying to work it out of the back under pressure. Offside here, given by head referee Rami Touchon. And one other initiative that is a big one here at this Generation Adidas Cup, the usage of VAR, video assistant referee, done in over 30 games here, and it's a nice proving ground not only for the players but the refs as well.
Yeah, it's very impressive. We've seen them in the booth behind us. Every single play will be under review here today. And if there's anything that needs to be looked at, such as a goal line clearance or a possible handball in the box or anything that could dispute a goal, the video assistant referee might tell the central referee, Rami Touchon, to hold up the game only at a stoppage. And at that point, they'll look at it. But everything will be under review, but we won't be interrupted more than we need to be, which is a nice balance, I think, with the new program.
Minimum interference, maximum benefit. That's what they're looking for. It's the mantra that Peter Walton and Howard Webb really leading up this initiative for PRO, the United States Referee Organization.
Yeah, we spoke with Howard Webb before the game. Of course, a very experienced referee from England, and he's in charge of the VAR system. So he wanted to make sure we had a good grip on it. And personally, I think it's a good system. I think it's, as you said, is minimal interference, but I think fans should know that every play is being looked at. And if there's something the VAR thinks should be reviewed, he'll be reviewing it. And if he needs more time to decide before a big play happens at the end of the field, he'll tell the main referee, please stop the game at the next stoppage.
The VAR will be, as you mentioned, Matt, reviewing everything, and then he can recommend to the ref to take a second look. We'll see if that happens. Meanwhile, here comes Mario Lecor, nicely dribbled around one defender in midfield. He has a go. It was deflected in the box. And actually a foul will be given. Offside actually will be the call here.
Lecor is from Titusville, Florida, 16 years of age. He's also played 5 more games with the U18, so a guy that Orlando City views with a lot of hope and promise.
He's trained with the first team as well. See a nice little turn in midfield there, just pass a couple of his teammates in an offside position. Here's that ball sprayed out to the left by Yidrach. He's found a nice pass. Lopez trying to get in behind, and he's done well to earn his side of corner. Looked to be second favorite in that battle against Eduardo Montes Garcia, but good work from Jaime Lopez. He's one of the 17-year-olds in this Orlando City side. Good job chasing down a lost cause there, and it's a chance here for Orlando to trail by 1-0. About 25 minutes gone in this first half. 10 minutes or so remaining. Lecor will come over, the 16-year-old, to take. Left-footed power to the back post. Had a man, you could see the idea there. The set piece perhaps got caught up in the wind, but overhit from Lecor, out of play.
Yeah, and talking with all these coaches, we've had a chance to talk with a few. I think it's the experience and the chance for these players to really test themselves against some of the best contemporaries in other cities around the world. And I think it's more so than just results and winning and losing. The experience of being around others, going toe-to-toe with others. I think that's the word we probably heard more than any others. Experience. And really, I think the coaches can go back to these players after this competition and say, you know, I've been telling you about this part of your game or that part of the game or this part of your mentality. This is why I've been emphasizing that. And it showed over the last few days.
Certainly Max Rogers had talked about, he wants to see desire and a mindset among his players that they belong and They learn how, an understanding of character and a winning mentality here. Certainly, I think you're right, Matt, every coach talked about wanting to progress, wanting to win the competition, but it's such a great learning opportunity for these kids. You mentioned Chivas. It's the first time for most of these kids being in the United States at all, let alone for a soccer game. So it'll be fun to watch these kids as they progress in this tournament. Nicely done from D'Anthony Brown to play it back with Mason Lamb.
And there are some ties from Chivas to Dallas. Of course, Chivas bought Alex Sendejas, a former FC Dallas Academy player a couple of years ago, so he's with the first team. And there are scouts here. This is a proving ground for many players. You mentioned Andy Nahar and others, but many of the European scouts come to this tournament as they do Dallas Cup. A few former Academy kids now playing at Manchester United. Matt Olosunde with the New York Red Bulls and Josh Dowdy with Real Salt Lake. They were both here in that 2014 Generation Adidas Cup.
And I'm sure, Matt, that most of the players will know that there'll be some scouts here in attendance as well.
Also a lot of college scouts. We saw many of them watching warm-ups, and here to our left in Frisco at Field 4.
Big time tournament, and they have designs on making it even bigger in the future. Really ambitious here. Try and make this one of the premier U17 competitions in the world.
That's one thing Mondello said he'd love to see in the future is more fans. Making it more of a spectator event to add to the environment for the players.
Got a nice, decent crowd to our left-hand side, left hand of the screen. You're right, it would be nice to see fans packing these games. Here's a nice bit of play along this near side, and then clever little flick with the back heel. Just doesn't quite come all the way through to Ortega. Forbes now looking forward. Lopez gets the call from a teammate to get forward. Found Pereira on the left-hand side, sliding challenge, nicely won. Alan Torres Villanueva coming over his number 6 position to cover on that counterattack.
A pretty even game. I think Orlando City settled down after they conceded the goal. But Chivas, very good shape. You see their movement off the ball. It's been a good first half here in the first game for both these teams. It's not easy. You have travel involved and the excitement. I think the first half for both these teams getting the jitters out.
You mentioned the movement. That's something that Coach Max Rogers talked about. This Chivas team will move on and off the ball like something Orlando really hasn't seen playing in the United States. Ferguson clipping it over the top for the run of the right back Brown. Defended well in the end by Marco Perez Sanchez. Half an hour in. Chivas Guadalajara still lead by the score of 1-0. To throw in Brown, working it with Pereira. Good strength from Seals, but eventually crowded out by a host of Chivas players. And now Chivas has an opportunity with numbers to counter here. Ball just a bit behind Casillas. We'll have to slow down his approach. He's fouled in the end. Jelani Ford's perhaps just a little overzealous in his challenge. Quickly taken, big diagonal cutout by Brown, headed out of play. Chivas with the 1-0 lead. Throw in. They're attacking third. Inside with Torres. He's laid off the ball momentarily. Comes Fernando Ortega. He has a go. It's a decent one as well. Had William Diaz scrambling to his right-hand post. looked like a speculative effort, but in the end, not too far wide of goal.
Yeah, good hit from the right back. We haven't seen Chivas' outside backs get too involved. They haven't really had to, as it's been a game more so in midfield, and Chivas has the 1-0 lead. But we'll see if they get more involved as the afternoon goes along. You oftentimes see that with Mexican clubs.
Certainly some offensive ability shown there by their right back, so I'd be surprised to see him make a few more forays into the attacking third. A shove in the back, pretty easy call against Alejandro Pereira. He's trying to chase down Alejandro Organista. Gotta tell you, that's a pretty sweet name for a central midfielder, Organista.
Yeah, you like to see the work rate from Pereira. He'll learn how to be a little more controlled in his challenge, but
I think they call that a forwards challenge.
Exactly. But the work rate you like to see, especially down a goal in a game with only 35-minute halves.
5 subs is the policy in this competition as the offside flag is raised against Chivas. Once you leave, you cannot re-enter.
And there is penalties, so if it ends in a tie, you have penalties. We saw Seattle and New York City FC in a morning game go to a penalty shootout.
Looked like NYC was the team to come away victorious, and that earns them an extra point in the standings as well. Right, Matt, if it's a draw, it goes to penalty shootout. Both teams earn a point, and the winner of the shootout gets an extra point. Here's
hockey-style scoring.
Nice, interesting twist to the standings that you'll see throughout this tournament. Meanwhile, here's a foul given against Chivas along the far side. It'll be a free kick late in this first half, and an opportunity here for Orlando to perhaps grab an equalizer going straight into the halftime break.
There haven't been too many set pieces for either team, so a chance here. Orlando does have the size advantage.
Sending their center backs forward, the likes of Mason Lamb, Ryan Schultz. Here's Mario Licor is the one to deliver with his left foot. And swinger to the near post, doesn't beat the first man. Really disappointed with that delivery, and Chivas now trying to spring the counter. Played just a bit too wide. Out of bounds for an Orlando throw.
Just a few minutes before halftime, I think both coaches can take some positives from this. For Chivas, they got their opening goal well taken. They've had other chances, could have 2 or 3 really in this first 35 minutes. But for Orlando, they've held their own. They've had a decent amount of the ball. They've had some pretty good build-ups. So I think for them, their first game of this competition against a quality side like Chivas, some positives from the first 35 minutes, especially with many younger players in this Orlando team.
There's Alejandro Pereira just trying to cut a one-man attack along the far side. Eventually just ran out of room to work. He's out of bounds for a goal kick. Jesus Coutinho to smash this one forward with the help of the wind at his back. Good defensive header there from Ryan Schultz. Heard a lot of his name here in this first half. Scything run through midfield from Alan Torres Villanueva. Casillas inside for Garcia. Stolen away by Ferguson.
And there's good composure there. This is something that they want to do. They want to build the ball slowly, and if it's not on one side, they want to switch the point of attack to the other. So that was nice to see from Orlando, not just blasting it forward, calmly finding the left back, working it to the right side. It ends up being a Chivas throw-in, but this is what they want to do for Orlando.
Yeah, coaches thought that ball retention would be absolutely vital, and this tournament. Been a difficult one to keep the ball here as Chivas been able to perhaps had the majority of possession, and here they go attacking down their left-hand side. It's an interesting pass, may have been deflected, and in the end, the ball popped up in the box, and chance at a volley, but it's cut just wide of goal. That was the left back getting forward, Marco Perez Sanchez. It's the last act of this first half. Chivas get a goal through their striker Daniel Lopez. Nice work down the left-hand side from Alejandro Jara Garcia. They lead 1-0 going into the halftime break. And Matt, what do you think of that first half?
Yeah, I thought a very good first half for both teams. I thought Chivas a deserved lead. They could have had maybe another. Orlando, very competitive, very even. And I think it should be exciting in the second half with maybe some substitutes introduced and only 35 minutes for Orlando to get a goal back. I think should be an exciting final 35.
So a lot to play for still here in the first game for these teams in Group C action in the Premier Division here, the 2017 Generation Adidas Cup. Second half will be coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll be right back here from Dallas, Texas. Halftime score, Chivas 1, Orlando City 0. welcome on back into Dallas, Texas, this beautiful Toyota Soccer Center. Field 4 between this Group C action between Orlando City and Chivas, as Chivas Guadalajara go into the first half with a 1-0 lead. They come back out for halftime. And Orlando City in their all-purple trailing by a 0-0. Again, I'm Carter Augustine, joined by Matt Pedersen. And as you mentioned, going into the break, Matt, just 35-minute halves, so just 35 minutes here for Orlando City to grab an equalizer.
Yeah, we'll see what adjustments they might make. I haven't really seen that Chivas back line tested too much. Orlando's best chances probably came from their set pieces, which they didn't take the most advantage of. But we'll see how Orlando might test this back line here a little bit more in the second half, and if they commit more numbers forward, guys like D'Anthony Brown, the right back, or Jalen Forbes, the left back for Orlando, trying to get involved.
Orlando trying to get forward along this left-hand side through aforementioned Jelani Forbes. And now a bit of a tug back. And a foul given against Orlando City. Foul in midfield. This one goes against Alejandro Organista. Just losing out in that duel in midfield with Mario Licor. Of course, 5 subs permitted by each team. We'll see if that comes into play here in this second half. Corner kick for Orlando City.
Yeah, the targets here, Ferguson, Schultz, Mason Lamb. Something different with everyone, or 4 of them, waiting at the top of the 18.
Core in towards the near post, flicked away. Nicely defended at the near post, perhaps another lackadaisical approach from Licor, and now here's a chance for Organista to charge forward. He's one-on-one down with the keeper into the area. He slides it across for a teammate, and at the very last second, a challenge comes in. Looked like Kyle Ferguson tracking all the way back. Oh, excuse me, that was Ryan Schultz, and perhaps his last-ditch challenge was able to put that Chivas player off as Organista tried to square it on that attack.
Yeah, that was great hustle from Ryan Schultz, the Orlando center back. He was one of the men forward for the corner kick. Great counterattack from Chivas. We saw the back heel right at midfield to keep everyone on side. And that was Schultz going the length of the field to make a goal-saving play. If not for that tackle, it's likely 2-0 Chivas. And they're in total control with about a half hour left.
It's a very vital effort there. You're right, Matt. 2-0, and this game looks to be going the way of Chivas, so it will look to be a 1-on-0 fast break. Hustle from the Orlando back line prevents that counterattack from that corner. How often do you see that match straight from the corner up the other end?
Yeah, it was disappointing for Mario Licor, who we've talked about, and you know the hopes Orlando has for him with his 12 goals this season. But it was the second straight poor service in which he hasn't cleared the front man.
Now here's the area. Good play there from Pereira just to try and flick it over the defending Marco Perez Sanchez. Goalkeeper Gudinho had some problems with it. In the end, though, Chivas able to clear. Now here's a foul and a bit of a scuffle in midfield as well.
The previous chance falling to Pereira goes by Ale from Oviedo, Florida. He's also played with the U18s this year, and you can tell why with his size.
Was called in by John Hackworth to the latest U17 USA camp, as well as they played 4 scrimmages against Japan.
Good frame for a 17-year-old. And we see that skirmish, first one we've really seen today. And that was something Mondello told us, was this is a difficult age for the referees to handle. They're starting to really kind of turn the corner, the loss of innocence, if you will, and it's a good training ground for the referees, as he said, to kind of watch the off-the-ball stuff, and a lot more things to watch than maybe at the U14 or U15 level.
Tell me 16 and 17-year-old boys can be hot-headed at times. I'd like to see the desire between those two teams.
Great organization here from Chivas. They had 4 over here on this near side against 2 Orlando players. There's no ways out. Been very impressed with the Chivas organization, both in their off-the-ball movement when they have the ball and then their shape defensively.
Nicely defended away there. Brian Hernandez. You're right. Haven't been too many clear-cut chances for Orlando City thus far in this game. Now fortuitous bounce for Fernando Ortega, and he can try and lead an attack from his right back position. Plays it out wide. Pedro Casillas trying to go one-on-one and lost out on the ball and fouled his man. That attack fizzles out for Chivas. So Orlando will restart play, trailing by a goal to nil. Into this second half Group C action. All over the top looking for Lopez. Other teams in this group, Columbus Crew and San Jose Earthquakes. In this Premier Division. Of course, they're the Champions Division and the Premier Division, so 4 groups of 4 in each of those divisions. I think it was a lot of soccer over this next week and a half.
So we'll see. Max Rogers, the head coach for Orlando, told us one of his priorities is the switch of the point of play. If it's not on one side, fine on the other. We saw just a few minutes ago Orlando trying to move up this right side. Chivas had it well covered. I think Orlando's gotten direct at times, which sort of makes sense with Ali Per as a target, but let's see if they can try a little more with the switching of the point of play, finding more space on the opposite side of the field here in this second half.
Here, the high press from Orlando leads to a turnover. They couldn't quite capitalize and create an immediate counter, and meanwhile that allows Chivas to get their defenders behind the ball. That was a big chance for Orlando as they snuffed out a turnover in midfield, but just couldn't make it into the attacking third.
Yeah, I think Licor, this was right in front of us. He expected a player to come to him, a soft pass from Licor. Teammate not on the same page, and Chivas was right there.
Far side now, Casillas trying to go one-on-one, gets to the end line. It's his cross away. It's blocked out. It'll be a corner here for Chivas. You can see some of the big bodies piling forward and in turn piling back as well. Alejandro Pereira with his big frame will go back to defend this set piece.
They're pretty conservative here for Chivas. They leave 3 back, 2 near the ball. So really only 5 targets.
They find one at the near post, flicked on to the back post. Pereira doesn't get his clearance correct. Still alive here for Chivas, edge of the area. Full-blooded challenge there and a hit. Like Pedro Casillas crashing in from his right wing. Picked up that loose ball, got the shot away, but it was blocked. Orlando immediately trying to fire it up towards the other end, but it was about a 1-on-6 situation there for Jaime Lopez.
Yeah, it looked like he did pretty well just to try to hold the ball up and wait for teammates, but then that tackle came out of nowhere, and probably a lack of communication from his Orlando City teammates telling him a man's coming. That's one thing I think we'd like to hear more out here, is just more communication from the players. I think we could, it's a big difference from the professional level to here, is if you go to a MLS practice or any professional club around the world, the communication on the field and during a game. At this level, you're not hearing as much of that.
Solid work now from the number 9 goal scorer, Lopez, trying to get in the area. And this shot skews wide. Some strong hold-up play there from Daniel Lopez Pinedo. Talked about Pereira cutting a big figure, so too is Lopez, the goal scorer. Big boy, number 187 there, leading the line for Chivas. Mentioned all the scouts. Matt, we just saw a scout from Sporting Lisbon walk right in front of our booth here. Adds to the numbers. But of course, getting scouted by other teams and colleges isn't the only thing at stake here. You mentioned several of these Orlando players have found their way in and around the first team for Orlando City. You never know, an impressive tournament, you might start to find a few more of those chances.
Well, a lot of players have broken out at this competition. Will Parchman had a good rundown of the top 10. Billamita topped the list. One of those that wasn't as well known when he got to the tournament was Will Trapp.
Certainly well known now. Nice build up here. Chivas now getting forward into the box. There's a challenge in the box and a penalty given. Penalty against Orlando City, and Chivas will have a chance to double their lead from the penalty spot.
Yeah, difficult to see from our angle. Looked like a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, but not a huge protest coming from Orlando. So maybe a good call from Rami Tushan, the referee.
So again, the video assistant replay is here in effect, checking every play, and if the play is not stopped, that means there's not a clear and obvious error. And so there's a chance for Chivas to take the lead. Can't even quite see who's addressing the ball here from our angle. Looks like Alan Torres Villanueva to take here the chance to double the Chivas lead. Torres, slow run up. Cool finish. Keeper's left-hand side. The keeper went the wrong way. It's a nicely taken penalty by Alan Torres, and Chivas lead 2-0.
Yeah, I think unfortunate for Orlando. They played pretty well since conceding in the first half. Not creating many chances on the other end, but pretty well defensively, and that sort of came out of nowhere. Now they're really up against it. Less than a half hour to go and down 2-0.
It's a nice run from Chivas player along the far side, but you're right, just perhaps a little bit of a clumsy challenge. Now Mario Licor dribbles out of play. It'll be a goal kick for Chivas with their 2-0 lead.
And that's another example of just Orlando needing to be more patient. Max Rogers wants the switch of play. There's no need for Licor to continue to the end line there unless he wins a corner. Just pull it back, try to recycle it, maybe find more space and time on the left side. But I think Orlando is really focusing their efforts on one side of the field and not being expansive enough.
Chivas so well organized as well. Seem to always have numbers on that side of the field. Organista does well to ride the challenge of Ferguson. He's found a pass wide right with Casillas. Casillas dribbling through a host of purple shirts, and just a little bit of a tug on his shirt there. Yes. Casillas was trying to make his way forward along that right-hand side. Taken quickly. Now looked to be given away, but nicely battled for in possession, and Chivas through the work. Pedro Casillas done well to retain the ball. Here they come along the right-hand side. Slip pass inside. Organista, a little cutback move. He fooled a defender, but then his teammate was offside. Looked like Lopez perhaps just coming in for the final act of that play. That'll allow for a substitution here. Orlando will make the first change. Looks like Jaime Lopez has checked out of the game in his left wing position, and coming in for him. Well, we'll get you who came in for Jaime Lopez here in just a second. Orlando, meanwhile, restarting play from the back. Now running forward in midfield. Win taking that one. It was a header backwards from Eduardo Montes.
42 not on the roster we were given, Carter. Could be Nico Diaz. He's 48. He was a substitute. But we don't know for sure.
Not quite sure who mystery number 42 is. Checking in for Orlando. There's the original roster, there was a Andres Ojeda Oliver, so maybe it's him, but he did not make the final roster that we were given. So try to get you that player's name. Here's a physical after the ball had gone challenge, and a yellow card has been issued to Mason Lamb just a bit late. You can see Daniel Lopez did not like that challenge into the back of his legs there. Another yellow card. This one. Chivas leading 2-0 here in this second half in Group C action. The first day of the 2017 GA Cup. That allows for a Chivas substitution, as checking out is Alejandro Organista.
Yeah, this is exactly what Chivas wants. They have a 2-goal lead. They've been pretty comfortable. They haven't really been tested at the back, to be quite honest. And now they get to pull Orlando out of its shell a bit more, as we see 5 pressing forward for Orlando, and they win the ball. But it will lead all sorts of spaces for Chivas to attack.
Trying to attack that space just now. Ball over the top for Lopez, going one-on-one with Schultz. Lopez just slows things down a little bit, allows a few more of his teammates to get in the area. He's picked out a nice cross. Just a bit too far in front. The Chivas player crashing in on goal. Well read in the end by William Diaz. The ball inside from Idrach. He's found Licor. Space opens up. And a foul against Licor. He really took the brunt of that challenge as he managed to find just a pocket of space. He got a nice shot away as well, just straight down the throat of the keeper, but it'll be a foul in a really nice position here for Orlando City.
Yeah, it all started with a nice little slip pass from the right flank central, and Licor cut inside onto his left. So we've been asking for that. We wanted Orlando to not live and die on the flanks and try some opportunities more central, and it led to a dangerous free kick here.
Looks like AJ Seals will take the free kick duties just left of center. This really sets itself up nicely for a right-footed player. Try to have a go at goal. Seals straight into the wall. Hit it with enough pace, but just couldn't get the accuracy. But now it's still loose, and it's fired and pounced home. Orlando have the deficit. Looked like Beto. Idrach on the follow-up. Initially, Seals drives the ball into the wall, and the loose ball is pounced on by Idrach, and all of a sudden it's 2-1, Orlando right back in it.
Excellent from Beto, taking advantage. Chivas, I think, was expecting a second hit from Seals, but he whiffed on a second chance. Beto did not give up on the play. 6 goals this season. And you saw with his reaction after the goal, they're right back in it. A well-taken hit to the far side netting.
It really was well struck by Beto Idrach. And you're right, Matt. You like to see that reaction from the Orlando players. Several purple shirts sprinting towards the net to try and get the ball back into play, and now there'll be a substitution for Orlando as well. Kyle Ferguson, the man to depart. Checking in for Ferguson. This man on the ball will get you his details here in just a second. Meanwhile, Orlando, buoyed by that recent goal, kept in play along this far side, still in the box for Orlando. Cutting it back, looked like Philip Ajmir Spengler was the player to check in for Kyle Ferguson. He'll slot into midfield. Meanwhile, ball bounced along this near side. It's a poor touch from Schultz, and it's gifted possession back to Casillas and Chivas. What a nice little switch there from Casillas as well. He's found the sub, Alejandro Rivero Lopez. Rivero trying to find Casillas on the far post. That one's just a little too heavy on the touch. Fizzed past Casillas, out of play along this near hand side. Orlando trail now by 2-1. Beto Yedrach moments ago getting that goal to cut the lead in half. Well, here come Chivas. Through Rivero along that far hand side. And looking for a foul, but nothing given. That allows Jelani Forbes to take the throw. Wide left, Marco Perez. Ball just a bit too heavy, but in the end dealt well with. And nice little dip at the shoulder. Rivero trying to get around a defender. Cutting it across edge of the area. Plenty of time and space here, and a last-ditch challenge. Nicely done. Schultz able to clear it initially. Still alive, edge of the area. Floated into keeper's left-hand post and just wide. Decent chance there for Chivas, but some good defending in the back box from Orlando.
Yeah, it's something we've seen this afternoon is the quality throughout the Chivas team. Both outside backs have come close from distance. Anybody on the field is dangerous at any time for this Chivas team. A very good technical team really across the field for Chivas.
There's a player down for Chivas.
Here's a look at some of the other Premier Division games that will be broadcasting in the next few days.
Take a look at some of the Premier Division games that we'll be broadcasting for you on MLSsoccer.com coming in the next few days. Of course, Monterrey versus Philadelphia Union in Group B. And nice one to look forward to on Tuesday, NYCFC against Pumas. That'll be a tasty fixture indeed.
At halftime, saw Pumas score a goal in their first game
against Saprissa. Looks like the Chivas player will be subbed out, so that's an unfortunate one for Chivas.
Just so the fans know how the divisions were decided, the MLS teams went through qualifying. So Orlando went 2-3-1 in the East, and that's why they're in this division. They beat DC United and New York City FC. They lost to Atlanta, Philadelphia.
Core now into the area on his right foot. It's an own goal! Turned in at the near post. The work was done by Mario Licor along this right wing. His cross wreaks havoc. It's 2-2.
Really a stunning turn of events. Chivas was up 2-0 in control. Orlando was getting frustrated. And then a second effort on a free kick, pulls the goal back, and then a well cross ball from Mario Licor. And maybe an ill-advised header. I think the Chivas defender was just trying to clear, but that close to goal and from that angle, it's a risky header for sure. And no chance for the goalkeeper.
Brian Hernandez, who really has been a rock at center back for Chivas all afternoon long. Just mistimed his jump there. He's powered a header into the near post. And when things were looking bleak, Orlando City have mounted a comeback. It's 2-2 here deep into this second half.
Now we'll see what Chivas does, having to come out. They do not want to tie this game, obviously, but we haven't seen them have to force the tempo too much as they got that early goal. But now, 2-2, they want to take the full 3 points. And we'll see if they come out a bit. Should be a very exciting final few minutes.
Late challenge there and a foul against Kazimir Spengler. First onto the field. Perhaps that is what granted him a bit of leniency in the ref's mind. Certainly was late in that challenge. Chivas now reeling from giving up this 2-goal lead in the second half. Moments ago, the injured player for Chivas was replaced by Fabian Bernardo Partida Tobalin. And here comes Orlando City now, really feeling it with those 2 goals in recent minutes, but Jelani Forbes just unable to do anything with the ball in the attacking third. There's a challenge. Beto Yildiz just breaking up the counterattack, and I think he was going to escape punishment for the challenge, but perhaps playing the ball away and trying to delay the game, and he might have a talking to with head referee Rami Touchant.
And we see what these goals have done for Orlando's confidence. Jelani Forbes mostly kept at bay in the first 35 minutes of this game, but now at 2-2 with a few minutes left, surging forward, the 15-year-old.
Deep into the second half here. As we mentioned earlier, if this game does end in a draw, it will go to a penalty kick shootout, best of 5. And as Matt mentioned, it's very much hockey style in terms of the standings. It's an extra point on the line if that does occur. Still some time left to go here for one of these teams to find a winner. Montez trying to split some lines, and it's intercepted. One back in midfield now. Orlando charging forward. Good ball sprayed out to this right-hand side. Licori caused some danger with his right moments ago. Tries to cut it back on his favorite left. And it's nicely blocked and out of play. Blocked away. It'll be out for a corner. That one just bouncing over the head of Jesus Gudinho. So Orlando, the late chance here. They've already come from 2 goals down, and now an opportunity, a set piece, try and find the third and a winner.
Yeah, and let's remember the last corner kick for Orlando led to a wonderful chance off the counterattack for Chivas. It was only the hustle of Ryan Schultz that prevented a great scoring chance for Chivas. So let's see how the set piece is taken. All but one are outside the penalty area.
Whipped in by Seals to the near post. Defended away. Do it again, another corner kick. It was Eduardo Montes who managed to find that near post runner and just stick his boot in front of the delivery.
Yeah, interesting. Seals taking these corners. It was Licor for the first few, but his services wasn't that good. Couldn't clear the first man on a few chances.
AJ Seals has taken over. Here's his ball. It's a good one into the penalty spot. Headed away and flicked clear, and now it's a really wide open counterattack for Chivas. Orlando caught with numbers forward, squared it across, a chance for the winner. It's a chance taken. The substitute, Alejandro Rivera Lopez, on the counterattack, straight from an Orlando corner, up the other end, and Chivas go ahead 3-2.
Stunning, just a jailbreak for Chivas. I cannot believe that Orlando left themselves so exposed to the back after what happened earlier in this half. You have 2, you want a third goal, but you can't waste everything you've done in the last 15 minutes on an offensive corner, and that was just too easy for Chivas. We saw the play develop in front of us. There was 3 waiting at the midfield line for Chivas. Only D'Anthony Brown was back for Orlando City.
Certainly mentioned it going into that first corner kick, Matt, that were caught out early on in this half. And here's a quick delivery trying to find the runner in behind. AJ Seals just overcooks it. but the warning signs were there. So perhaps that will be frustrating for this Orlando City team and staff as they had clawed back from 2 goals down and to concede on such a wide open counter attack. 3-on-1 on that counter for Chivas. It'll be disappointing for the men in purple. Now here's good work.
Yeah,
Far side, cleared away.
it's interesting, Carter, not knowing this Orlando team well enough and seeing what they do typically on set pieces. With the big boys forward, if Licor's not going to take it, he should be back. You're going to have your smaller players back. But Licor was in the vicinity. And it just seemed like too many numbers forward for Orlando, plain and simple.
Still some time left in this second half, 35-minute halves. Chivas now lead 3-2. They seem to have found their rhythm. Commentators curse, though, right as I say that, giving away. Diaz just hoofing it forward. A couple headers, and now Chivas will come clear through Alejandro Jara. Challenge along the far side, fair. According to the referees, from Forbes sliding in to break up that attack. We got throw in for Chivas. They're attacking third, right at the cusp with the attacking third. Don't expect Chivas to hurry up the play at all at this point in the game. Looks like an Orlando player has gone off injured. So a scramble substitution will be forced here for Orlando. Can't quite make out who the injured player is along that far side. But it will allow for another Orlando substitution. Checking in this time, Jose Quintero. So he'll slot in for Orlando and try and help them find an equalizer as we play on late into the second half. This one's hooked forward, gets caught up in the wind, which again is whipping really fast from left to right. It's right on cue, all my papers go flying.
We'll see as this tournament progresses, Carter. 3 14-year-olds on the bench for Orlando. They may get some opportunities. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Memphis Parker, Wasser Robbins, and Nico Diaz. 3 of the 4 2002s. One of the 2002s in the starting lineup, Jalen Forbes, but something for Orlando to watch for the last few games. Wasser Robbins, the youngest on the team, he turns 15 in December. So he's only been 14 for just a few months.
Plenty of chances for those youngsters in this tournament. Some great first-time ball. As Fabian Partida tried to get forward. Now a foul. The far side corner flag, so Chivas some chance to take time off the clock. Also their set piece opportunity for Los Rojiblancos. Not really putting many numbers forward are Chivas here with the 3-2
Yeah,
lead.
it's such a contrast in styles. We saw Chivas earlier even leading with many guys back. Of course, Orlando was going for the win with all their numbers forward on the 2-2 corner kick that led to the counterattack goal for Chivas.
It's a powerful header at the edge of the area, but it's not really directed towards any Chivas player, but clearance intercepted by Partida. Stolen away, Pereira. inside for the cords, well read. That was Pedro Casillas, who has played pretty much everywhere around the field in this game for Chivas. Started on the right wing, found himself in center midfield in this second half. And here's a late challenge. And Beto Yidrach will go into the book for a late sliding tackle on a Chivas player.
I'm not sure why he's arguing that. It looked pretty clear from our end, but
a little conversation, and it's a straight red. As Rami Touchon went and talked to his AR, who was right in front of the play on that one, and Beto Yidrach was arguing the referee going to his pocketbook at all. Perhaps he didn't expect to see a red card come out of the pocket, so Orlando now down to 10 men.
I think it's a good call. Without looking at a replay, I think it's the right decision. In plain view, first time I saw it, I thought red. And Rami Touchon here late in this game, sending off Beto Yidrach. It's a rash challenge. You're down a goal. It's at midfield. He obviously wants to win the ball back for his team, but left a lot out there.
Studs definitely were showing, and Fernando Ortega Flores is the one to be on the receiving end of that challenge from Beto Yidrach, and that's a big one for this team as well, because of course that's going to mean he's going to miss out on the next game, and he's been one of their bigger players in this game, of course, getting that first goal.
Yeah, some learning lessons late for Orlando. Personnel committed forward on a corner kick, and then the decision on that sliding challenge from Beto.
So now Orlando facing an uphill climb, just minutes to go in this second half, trailing by 3-2 and down to 10 men. They'll have to reorganize for the next one as well, as they'll lose their playmakers in midfield. Beto Yidrach with a rash challenge late on in this first group stage game. Of course, plenty to play for left in this competition, both teams in this Premier Division. We went through Group C, Orlando, Chivas, Columbus, and San Jose. You'll see some action from Group B, Philadelphia Union, New England Revolution, Monterrey from Mexico, and Chicago Fire. Group A's got NYCFC, Seattle Sounders, Deportivo Saprissa, and Pumas. And Group D is DC United, Houston Dynamo, Portland Timbers, and Tigres. Nice collection of teams there, international and MLS. The red card has been rescinded, as it appears. It'll be just a yellow there.
Interesting decision.
We'll see if we receive word from the video assistant referee. That's a mouthful. That is a position, though, I should say. I didn't misspeak there. There's a video assistant referee who will be doing the actual refereeing, and he has an assistant that will be talking with us, the broadcasting crew. In the meantime, that's a big play, a big decision for Orlando City. It was a strong challenge, but Beto Yidrach is allowed to remain on the field, and that means he won't be suspended for the next match, which could be the bigger result to come from that downgrade to a yellow card. Meanwhile, an offside given against Chivas, and so Orlando City now 11 men back on the pitch. As they try and chase this equalizer as we get ever deeper into this second half. And now a yellow card for time wasting issued to Alejandro Jara Garcia. You can see Rami Touchon kind of pointing around. I think he was telling him that the whole team had been time wasting, and so a message sent there. And so Orlando piling all the numbers forward here, trailing by 3-2.
everyone back for Chivas.
Look to defend this set piece. Could be one of the final opportunities for Orlando City. Coming in from Seals. Floated up towards the penalty spot. Headed down into the ground. Now 1 on 5 along this near side, and actually it'll be offside against Orlando, and that will end that bit of attacking play.
Well, Carter, we have received word from the video assistant referee. The last red card was reviewed and indicated a clear error. The red card has been rescinded and a yellow card has been issued. So that was a VAR decision, and a great example of its use and implementation. A red card turned away after review by the video assistant referee.
There you go. Usage of the VAR allows Beto to stay on the field, and Orlando now charging down the near hand side, and there was a decent ball. Snowing at the far post. And you'll see here Orlando just trying to grab that equalizer, piling all their numbers forward, so there will be plenty of space for Chivas to get in behind on the counter. Just minutes remaining in this second half. And apologies, I didn't see the referee sprint over to the tent. VAR status. But that's the final whistle as referee Rami Touchon ends this game, and a back and forth game. Chivas went into the halftime break with a 1-0 lead. They get a penalty early on in the second half. It looked like things were going to be over for Orlando. They managed to claw back into the game and equalize at 2-2 until Chivas, with a breakaway counterattack from a corner, they get the winner and win this one 3-2.
Yeah, I think a fair result. I think Luis Espeña and Chivas will be happy to leave here with the full 3 points. I think over the course of the full 70 minutes, Chivas was the better team, created more chances, really controlled the flow of the game. Orlando had a nice 15 to 20 minute spell in which they got their 2 goals. Credit to them for their fight back, and a disappointing end for them with conceding a goal on an offensive corner kick. But that's part of set pieces. You have to execute them on both sides of the field, and they got hurt.
So an entertaining affair here in the first broadcasted game from the 2017 Generation Adidas Cup, as Chivas come out 3-2 winners over Orlando City in this Group C match. Stay with us as we'll be back this afternoon, 6:15 Central Time, to bring you the game between Atlanta United and River Plate. You're watching the 2017 GA Cup on MLSsoccer.com.
All right,